Hey there, it's 7 Grains of Salt. Well, I was going to do a single topic today, but then there was so much going on, and I figured let's put it all together. So let's get to this right away. So, first of all, watching the news last night, and all I could see was that. I know it's the turkey star, but why did they have to put it in such an angle? It is perfectly sideways and reminded me of that. Well, I took a picture, figured maybe they're going to show it again, and they did, so that's how I got the picture. So that led me into what I also saw into many fish. So let's just take a look.
We've had 3 warplanes and 3 drones shot down. This is a big deal. This will escalate things exponentially. And we were just talking about, I can't get over this, you guys. So, I just give this stuff to you because it's given to me. You know what I mean? We're talking about the markets plunging and then the 3 jets bombing the mosque, Turkey, Syria. And it turns out it's the 3 jets that are bombed. You know what I mean? 3 jets and 3 drones. This was the 3rd fighter jet. This was the 3rd incident right here, just in the last couple of days. He retained his crown, even though they cannot form a government. They are expecting their false messiah. Iran even shut down its government yesterday due to the coronavirus. Of all, the Fed owns Trump. Period. Look into who owns the Fed, if you know what I mean. Rip through Nashville on March 2nd is not normal at all. There's your climate change. I can guarantee you, if we look hard enough, you will see that there was some kind of shenanigans going on in order to get this tornado to form and rip through Nashville at this time of year. That's just insane. But this is the main thing I wanted to show you.
And then we had Israel News Live, who mentions True News, and having Mr. Pence there discuss about anti-Semitism, root out of society. I've mentioned this in my other videos in the past, if you've watched them on Israel, that is what they are going to do, and that's why the Noahide law will come in. But let's watch a short clip.
It's over. We're not a God-fearing nation anymore. We're not even a sinful nation anymore. We're a wicked nation. We've become wicked, satanic, evil. Where did it happen? When did it start? How did Satan get a foothold in America? Well, listen, we'll keep showing you some more stuff. This is the power. You want to see the power that runs America right now? We're showing it. It's AIPAC. They represent the power. It's just not them. They represent the power. All right. So your Vice President, Mike Pence, went there, as expected, and said what they expected to hear from the White House. Here's Vice President Mike Pence.
So like all of you, we've stood with our most cherished ally as never before. We've stood up to Iran. But now, my friends, we've reached a fateful moment in our history. All over the world, anti-Semitism is on the rise. On college campuses, in the marketplace, even in the halls of Congress. Anti-Semitism is a unique hatred, uniquely potent, persistent, uniquely responsible for unconscionable acts of violence. Which is why we must root anti-Semitism out from every part of our society. It is not just a threat to Jewish Americans and Jews around the world, it is a threat to us all.
That's just a shame. That's a shame that the vice president would say something like this. But what can you expect? We are headed into a beast kingdom, is what we're headed to. And what's sad to me is that people do not wake up and realize that we're headed in this direction. when you go back and you look at what Jesus said, what John said, I mean, John was Elijah. Jesus clearly identified the very Pharisees as serpents, vipers, right? Let's pull this up, right? Here we are in Matthew 23. It's in multiple places in Matthew. It's also in the book of John, the Gospel of John, etc. But he says here, wherefore you be witnesses unto yourselves that you are the children of them which killed the prophets. Fill you up then the measure of your fathers. You serpents, you generation of vipers, how can you escape the damnation of hell? The weird thing is, and granted, I was there as well, I have to admit it, the pastors today are so much embracing Talmudic Judaism. Used to be, the ministers would try to share the gospel of Jesus Christ with their Jewish friends. But it's completely changed now. And you know that the scripture speaks about in Genesis that, okay, if we go to Genesis, we know good and well that the head of the serpent is going to be bruised. And the seed of the woman, which was Christ, his heel would be bruised, right? I doesn't say their heel. Or, you know, they see, look at, they shall bruise thy head. Oh, you got to be kidding me. Okay? You see right there, that word right there, who. The word who is not they. The word who is he. Who yashufcha rosh. He will bruise your head. All right? Your head. Right there. I mean, this is ridiculous. I'm going to tell you something right now. Now, I know a lot of people ain't going to like this. I don't care if you vote for Trump or if you vote for a Democrat. Don't make any difference. No matter which side you vote for, they've got both sides controlled. But I guarantee you one thing. Trump goes back into office, Mike Pence goes back into office, and they get control of the House and the Congress. Oh, my gosh, it will be a landslide of laws that will silence people like myself that are trying to tell you the truth. People like Rick Wiles, people like myself, Adam, No More News, Chuck Baldwin. They not only will they shut you down, but they'll hunt you down and kill you, thinking they do God a service. Right? Unreal.
They are going to try, but until they do, we have to keep fighting with telling people about the truth. This is not theology, replacement theology. This is not that. So please research if you don't trust what I'm saying, and dig into the truth and read Romans and Galatians or watch my previous videos where I've gone over this. But let's move on, because we don't have a lot of time. Scariest movie ever. So much information in here.
Wasn't sure if I shared this one last week or not, but this is kind of kooky. I thought it was funny. Trump is worshipped as a god by this man, and he's not even a Republican. Before Donald Trump became leader of the free world, Busa Krishna felt the U.S. president was something special. For the last 3 years, the 31-year-old farmer from near Hyderabad, India, has been carrying around Trump's image and praying to him several times a day. To aid his devotion, he set up a Facebook page where he posts videos and images of him making offerings, or puja in the Hindu faith, at a shrine in the village of some place I can't pronounce. First inspired by the president's Make America Great election campaign, Krishna had no view as to whether Trump's addition to his pantheon helped him get elected. However, he has had to endure this sort of criticism and advice that many would like to see Trump himself taking. This is my family and village people call me mad. Once they suggested I should visit a psychologist. I told them I don't require any. Maybe you should go. because he is my God, and I am not bothered about stuff others say, he said. Well, this is troubling, is it not? No matter who it is, it may, of course, never worship another human, right? Of course. But there you have it. That's a creepy picture. Speaking of crazy, again, I promise you there's not a lot of stories about this subject, but this one's just a classic. Could this bizarre personal bubble kill the crown virus? Look at this thing. Let's read a little bit first. Chinese architect has created a concept product that could protect a person from the novel COVID-19. The idea is that a space-age looking shield named BA Batman, this is real, this is happening, folks, would be for the people who are exposed to the dangerous situation during the coronavirus emergency. De Jong, who co-founded architecture studio Penda, told Dezine, it would be made of carbon fiber, this is it, and shaped like bat wings, hence the name, and worn like a backpack. There you go. There's your future. Violet radiation network on the surface of the device can heat up to sterilize the surrounding environment, turning contact a way to kill rather than spread the virus, according to a description. Oh, okay. Well, from the side, it's not quite as bad. I mean, when they show you... Here's something I wanted to show you. This is interesting here. This is the M protein of the SARS-CoV, you know that virus, right? And where is it in here? I'm looking. There it is. Yeah, I was looking through all this. I was looking for the numbers, I admit it, but in the COVID-19, we do find the 666. 666 nucleotides, whatever that is. That's the ORF, O-R-F. Anyway, there you go. So this video, you can see, was uploaded June 18th, 2010. And this guy, Bill Ryan, I'm not familiar with his work, but he is talking about a thing called the Anglo-Saxon mission, which apparently turns out to be some kind of a plan. And from many years ago, that apparently a big group of Masons came together at some meeting. I mean, it'd be hard to explain the whole thing because I haven't watched all of this yet. I mainly wanted to show you this part, but apparently the information came from a big Masonic meeting about future plans for the Anglo-Saxon mission, which was to make sure that Caucasian people were the main white people left on the planet. I know this sounds nuts, and this is how they were going to do away with some of the other white countries. Remember, this is apparently the meeting took place in 2005. He's talking about it here in 2010. Check this out.
There are all kinds of heavy controls over populations everywhere. And then the next thing that happens in this chess game that's being played is that biological weapons are released on China. You heard this being discussed in this meeting. They will release a flu-like virus that will be genetically targeted against the Chinese population. It's racially targeted against the Chinese people. It's designed to spread like wildfire and to knock out a large number of the Chinese people. And these people in this meeting were laughing about this. They said, China will catch a cold. Those were their words. China will catch a cold. And they were laughing about the fact that these biological weapons will wreak havoc among the Chinese population. And after that, then what effectively will be a kind of plague will actually spread right across the world to the West as well. So it was not clear whether this was a Chinese retaliation or whether the thing would just spread out of control in the way that it would be very understandable if it did, whether it's racially targeted or not. These things actually mutate. So now you've got a situation where there's been a limited nuclear war in the Middle East. there's a pandemic that really is sweeping across the world and really is killing people very visibly. And you've got this totalitarian military lockdown in all the governments in the Western world among the Chinese population. And after that, then what effectively will be a kind of plague will actually spread right across the world to the West as well. Our source was not clear whether this was a Chinese retaliation or whether the thing would just...
That's pretty wild, huh? Pentagon wants to start testing new 5G tech soon. All right, what could go wrong? Within the next couple of months, the U.S. Defense Department will release a final request for proposals to industry on 5G technology to test at 4 military bases across the country. That testing, prototyping, and experimentation will include virtual reality tech. Man, I put this in a video a while back, remember? That 5G be connected to virtual reality?
With the rest, I'm just going to show you the headlines. Transgender male transitions to gender-neutral alien. Coronavirus may lead to mass homeschooling. That's interesting. Satan is given permission to perform ritual at Washington Capitol. And then, thanks to Trump, Paschal Lamb could be sacrificed on Temple Mount for the first time in 2,000 years. Well, that's exactly the story I was about to cover, and notice that he had it at the end of the video. Wow, if the government grants the permits, it should happen. It's based on Israeli and international law. This will be the first time since the destruction of the Second Temple that an altar has stood in its proper place in Judaism, the holiest site. He found it in Israel, Breaking Israel News, but I found it in the Sanhedrin Facebook page. So let's take a look. I think I'm going to have to do a video on separately this again because they've posted many things. But really quick, should the request to bring the sacrifice be granted, this would mark the first time an altar has stood on the Temple Mount in its proper place since the Second Temple was destroyed in 70 CE. The Sanhedrin emphasized that the plan to bring the altar to the Temple Mount was entirely consistent with President Trump's recently released Deal of the Century, which recognized Israel's full sovereignty over the site. And people of every faith should be permitted to pray on the Temple Mount. Much is happening, much is happening. So I'll cover more of that in my next video, which I'll post either today or tomorrow. But I was curious if anyone else has seen this. This year I've seen a lot of swans everywhere. And I know when I see it in a particular store, they are pushing the agenda of what is being pushed out there by the elites. Because when I saw other symbols like the eyes and everything else, so I know this store. So what do you think? Do you know or have any more information about the swan and the symbolism of it? What I know is what I found just in brief. The white swan represents unity. Of course, that's what they're wanting, is coexist, unity, purity, right? And then the black swan, they said there was a story on this one site to attain purity and perfection in the image of God, but then in another site I found it has to do with big changes and usually caused by suffering. Interesting is what I thought. Maybe you guys have more information. That's just really quickly looking on it. But that's it. Sorry this went a little longer than I thought with all great sites and channels. I'll add all the links if you're interested in watching them. God bless, stay vigilant, and so much more is to come.